Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to SM Enlightenment Radio or watching on SM Enlightenment TV or our podcast. I'm Ayana.
And I'm Jenny.
And we are two healthy chicks providing simple life hacks on this journey to healthy living. Jenny, it's been a little while.
It has. I missed you too. We're back.
We are. That means that we did something right?
That's
in
right.
The last
That's
12
right.
episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So what's in your mug?
So I am pretty excited because I'm just as excited about what's in the mug as my mug itself. If you can see that. And for those of you who are just listening, it says she believed she could, so she did. And I love it, especially because it's from my daughter for Mother's Day.
Gift.
Yes.
Oh, so nice.
So excited about that. And inside is my detox. I'm on day 4 of the 7-day detox. So that's what I'm finishing up tonight. What are you drinking?
Very nice. Very nice. I went to my usual duo when, I need a little extra hydration and detox. So, I got my detox and my biohydria. So I got a nice giant mug to hold it all. But yeah, that's what's in my mug tonight. Little story before we jump in. I'm kind of like, a little loopy. So I needed to come down a little bit because I had a couple dozen oysters. I thought you would appreciate that.
Oh, boy. Was this supposed to start on a good note tonight? I'm not quite sure. Because that's not it.
It was. I mean, I think it still is. It's heading in the right direction.
Oh, man.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I figured I needed to come down a little bit. So this is going to be a great episode.
Yes. On that note, I think you could definitely use what we're talking about tonight. So, it's interesting because we have talked a lot about over the past 12 episodes about what to do to change to a healthy lifestyle, right? Given lots of tips and tricks and things, and definitely no shortage of to-dos for that. But what about the obstacles that come up to block us from making those changes to a healthy lifestyle? Because we all know we have them. So what are the obstacles and what can we do to get around them? And so that's what we're going to be chatting about today. We're going to be exposing a few of those insidious obstacles that just get in our way. And we are going to give some tips and tricks to just obliterate them and conquer through them and get them out of your path. And so here's the excuses that we've heard the most. And then we are going to break them down. So how about I don't know what to do? So missing the knowledge piece. I don't have the time. I don't have support. I self-sabotage. And it's too expensive. So
which I think is a really valid one. That last one is really valid. So I can't wait to dig into that one. And not to, discredit the others because everyone's reason is valid to an extent. So, but yeah, I'm really excited about the too expensive part.
Yeah. So if you have ever, for you, the listener, if you have ever said those things, for us, if we have ever said those things, all of them, like all the time. And that's the thing about this is it's not a one and done thing. Living a healthy lifestyle is a decision you make every day. And so there's things that we can do to help make those decisions easier over time, and they become a habit, and then it just becomes a part of our lifestyle of who we are. But making those changes initially and really pushing through those things that come up to stop us can be really difficult. So that's what we're going to be tackling today.
Yeah, it really it comes down to change, right? Anytime there's the concept of change, there's always going to be those obstacles because essentially it's your habit and everything that your body and mind is used to. That's kind of like, it's almost like self-preservation. It's like, nope, something's new. Nope, this is an excuse. That's a good one. Yeah, let's go with that one. So, when it comes down to change, it's like that for almost anything. And healthy living is no different.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So let's dig in. So let's go with number 1. I don't know what to do. The lack of the knowledge piece. And all I can say is like, really? Just Listen to our episodes. Listen to our podcast.
Lucky chicks. You got a whole 12 episodes to catch up.
Go back and re-listen is all I have to say about that. Okay, number 2. No, I'm kidding.
We
will spend a little bit of time here. We'll answer a few of them. Yeah.
So maybe you're like swimming in questions of ingredients, seeds, nuts, proteins, etc. Like make your life simple and find recipes that you and your family already love. So for instance, if you like lasagna, simply search healthy lasagna. Now that's not going to be like a foolproof method because you're going to get a lot of things that aren't really healthy, which is where we come in and where you want to actually pay attention to some of our episodes. For this one, you can specifically use episode number 3, where we talked about like healthy ingredients and some pseudo healthy ingredients. But that episode specifically will steer you away from the pseudo healthy ingredients, such as soy milk. So yeah, that's one of my go-tos. You have one of those go-tos for like your favorite recipes and how to healthify it?
Yeah. So, well, there's quite a few websites that I a lot of times I'll just put in like into the search, like whatever it is I'm looking for, like if I am looking for lasagna or whatever. But the thing is I will look for, I'll scan the ingredients and see what it has in it. So interestingly, that makes me think of when I first started, and it's nice to have some guidance on this because when I first started, my start in all of this was when I went dairy free. So I was clueless when it came to all of it. And so I'm like having the hardest time finding anything to cook, anything to find. So I finally figured out that if I type in vegan lasagna or vegan this or vegan that, whatever I wanted, it was for sure a dairy-free recipe. And I'm like, oh, that's all I have to do. And if it was a meal, then I could add in chicken or beef or whatever it was, I could add in meat that I wanted to, but it made it dairy-free then. I'm like, oh, that's what it is. So that might be something that if you're looking for dairy-free things, that you might put in the word vegan with whatever it is that you're looking for. That might be something easier. Sometimes I'll put in the word healthy, but that is a little bit tricky because
it's very vague. It's like a really broad umbrella.
Yeah,
and that's why you kind of get like all of those things. So you kind of have to be careful with healthy, but yes, I agreed. That makes sense.
But I do have, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you absolutely can search like vegan lasagna. And then if you don't want to add meat, just like you said, just add meat, but you still are along those healthier lines than just the broad term of healthy. Agreed.
Yeah. And I've definitely found there's certain, like, because I'll do that and then I'll find recipes that I tend to gravitate towards because it has the ingredients that I have in the house, or it's easy, it's pretty simple, it doesn't require a ton of steps, that I have certain certain websites that I do like to go to and that I find I really like their recipes. So one is Isabella Wentz. I love, she has very, very healthy things. And I have her book. So she's a guru with Hashimoto's. So that is why I follow her. And she has a ton of recipes that I love that are gluten-free, they are dairy-free, and they're very mindful of a lot of different problems, that issues with different foods that you might have. So definitely look her up. That's with the Z, Izabella, Wentz, Wentz. So I love hers.
That's a new one for me. Thank you.
Yeah, she's great. I have her. I have tons of recipes. I have her cookbook. I have her book on Hashimoto's protocol. Like, just she's an interesting story. She is not the topic of our episode tonight, but she went to school to be. She's a PharmD. Does medicines and prescriptions and drugs and things. And then it was because of that medical background when she started having issues and found out she had Hashimoto's, and then she dove into finding, I don't want to say a cure, but how to
manage it better.
So,
yeah. That's actually a really good segue because, you may find yourself, the listener, in like a sea of recipes. And I know that this was something for me when I first started down this path to healthy living, is, just endless recipes. And I'll go online with the point of, or with the idea of meal planning for the evening. And then like 30 minutes later, I'm in a sea of recipes. I still haven't figured out what I'm having for dinner. And I forgot what it was that I was actually looking for. So to
Yes,
cure
we've all
that,
been there. Yes.
exactly. A nice easy tip for that is to just find, when you start searching, if you use YouTube or Pinterest or Instagram, whatever, vehicle you like to use, when you find one recipe, look at it. Usually comes from a website. Look at that website. That may be a website that kind of, is your jam. And that's what I found for myself. So you mentioned Isabella Wentz. Mine are like delish.com, eatwell101.com. That's something that you can actually search by like cuisine or by dietary restriction. Eatingwell.com is another one. I don't think I just mentioned that. But anyway, when you find a good recipe that you're like, ooh, that sounds really good, you make it and it was great, find that website that it came from and stick to it. And you'll usually find a few more recipes, usually more than a few, that will help you down your path. So let's move on to the next one.
Oh, well, hold on. I have a couple more I'll add to that list. I will also add minimalistbaker.com is a great one. And Tastes Lovely, TASTESLOVELY, Tastes Lovely, are two that I love. And Mama Knows Glutenfree.com is another really great one. So those are a couple. I have a lot of them, but those are a couple that I've definitely gotten some really awesome recipes from. So especially when it comes to baking and baked goods and stuff. So yeah. Good.
I knew about Taste Lovely. I haven't heard of the other two. So that's good stuff.
Well, with the gluten-free,
Yeah, don't worry. If you haven't, grabbed a pen or your notepad, this will all be available on our Facebook page. So you'll be able to find these websites. Don't worry. We got you covered.
Good reason to visit. Yes.
We ready for number 2?
Yes, we are. So let's move on to number 2. Excuse is I don't have time. Time. I hear you, sister. I hear you.
What do we have time for? Do we live in America? The answer is nothing. We have time for nothing.
Exactly.
Breathe, and that's it.
Here is the first mind shift change. It has to be a mind shift change. Like it has to become your priority. It has to be a priority enough to demand your time, because you do have to put time into choosing healthy options. Like you just said, like it takes time. Like you can't just pull up any old recipe. It takes longer to go through and find, does it have the right ingredients? Does it have the things that I have in the house? Does it have the things that I want to be eating? So it definitely takes a time commitment to look for the recipes, to do the shopping, to prepare the food. So we're not going to lie and say it doesn't.
Right.
It does. Exactly. Like it's not just swinging by Subway or swinging by Mickey D's and, just throw it to the back of all the kids in the back of the car. Like, here we go.
Catch.
That easy. I wish. It's just not.
There is a silver lining to it, though. I mean, you have to, again, look at it as something new, right? So once you get more practice with something new, then things come secondhand. So when you think of the lasagna, I think maybe we'll just stick to this for the episode. Like this will be my reference. Clearly, I'm craving lasagna. So, Mom, if you're listening, Dad, either one, I'll take it. Once you get used to it, you'll begin to know exactly what to sub out of certain recipes without going to search for it. Like I won't say second nature. That does take some time. I don't think it's second nature for me. And I'm about maybe a year and a half in. You have more skin in the game than I do. But the more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to get with, oh, great. This is a recipe that calls for cheese. Cheese doesn't work for me, but I do have some dairy-free cheese in the refrigerator, and that's going to be just fine. So that's just a really easy example, but it does become that simple the more you do it. So it won't always take you forever to find recipes, but as time goes on, it'll get easier.
Yeah.
But we have some simple workout ideas.
Yeah, well, actually, let's swap. Let's stick on the food meal prep since we're talking food and do those and then go to the workout ideas. But so for food and preparing that, I know a lot of people will say like Sunday meal prep. A lot of people do that and like prepare meals for the whole week. I personally have not gotten into that. I know Ayana, you haven't. It's just not, it's not us. Like that is not our thing. And it's okay. I know it works for a lot of people, but if that's an idea that would be helpful for you and work for you, do it. There's an idea, and just block the time on Sunday and prepare meals for the week so it makes it super easy to grab and go. What I do that works well for me is I will plan the meals for at least 2 weeks, but usually 3 weeks, maybe even to 4 weeks. It takes the time to sit down and do it then, but I plan out what we're having also compared to our schedule, like if it needs to be a crock pot meal because of, whose game is that night or whatever. So kind of looking at the schedule, looking at what we have time for, and also balancing out having a variety of things, like having the different meats and a meatless night and different things. I try to space those out. So I like to sit and plan and then make my list and then go shopping and do it in big bulk. So I'm not going back and forth to the grocery store all the time and wasting that time. So that's what I like to do. That might sound super overwhelming to other people, but the point is find what works for you and make that your routine and make that your go-to. And like we said, make that your new habit to be able to just create a new habit.
Yeah. The point of making it be something that works for you is, if you're trying to change too much at one time, you're not going to stick to it. No. So it will defeat the whole purpose of attempting a new eating lifestyle, if you will, if you're trying to change too much at one time, because you're like, ooh, I'm going to scrap all of this and then start with all of this. And that might last like maybe a week at best. But going back to like the Sunday meal prep, I do know someone that works for, and she does it religiously every Sunday. She takes 2 hours and she chops and roasts veggies, and she has everything like for the week where it's refrigerated and you just kind of pair whatever with different meals. So you really do have to pick what works for you. Just like Jenny said, neither one of us are Sunday meal prep chicks. Like we're two healthy chicks, but not Sunday meal prep chicks. Nope. I haven't made it fit into my schedule. So I won't say that I will never be a meal prep chick, so to speak. But as of right now, no, that hasn't worked out well. But there are a few other things that you can do. For instance, putting a glass of water by your bed at night to drink in the morning. So if you're starting off, if you're one of those people, because I know a lot of my friends in social media struggle with getting that quote unquote right amount of water. Start your day off. You have a glass of water right there. You've already had a start, whether your glass is 8 ounces, 12 ounces, you've got a good start to the day. You're off on the right foot. So little things that you can kind of work into some things that you are already doing. You're already sleeping and waking up, and you probably have something next to your bed where you can put a glass of water. So that's simple. That goes to those simple changes. Too big, too fast is a good recipe for, I won't say failure, but lack of success.
Yeah. Well, and to piggyback on that too, then for your day, just even taking a big water bottle, and like this is a 32-ounce water bottle, and fill that up in the morning then, and use that throughout the day, and like have your goal to have that done by lunchtime, or to use that for the whole day. Pour it into a glass if you prefer to drink out of a glass, or just drink out of that. But that way you're not running back and forth and getting a new glass every time, and you're able to keep track of how much you're actually drinking. So do things that are going to work for you to be able to start changing those habits.
Agreed. So going to those simple workout ideas, you have a few, I have a few. Let's rattle them off.
Yeah. So just like what you said, tagging it with what things you are already doing. So when you're brushing your teeth, which hopefully you're all still brushing your teeth. I know, but during COVID, it kind of got a little dicey, I think, for a lot of people, but hopefully we're back to
Pause. I literally watched. No, I'm not a story about me. Promise. I watched just last night very rarely do I watch the news because I just choose to get my news like in bite-sized pieces when I want it. I don't want it all in. Anyway, watched the news last night by accident, and the story was how people have turned to taking less showers during COVID. And you know what? It's not a foreign concept. Let's be real. Like if you're working from home, and the story made a good point. If it's 7 o'clock at night and you realize, wait a minute, I'm still in my pajamas, what's the point? So, let's just hope we are all still brushing our teeth. We're not going to talk about, whether or not you shower. Let's just hope you're still brushing your teeth.
Let's go on that presupposition. So you're brushing your teeth, and hopefully it actually takes 2 minutes. We recommend that if you're not. Yes, 2 minutes. 2 healthy chicks, 2 minutes to brush your teeth. Here we go. So during those 2 minutes, do squats while you're brushing your teeth, or do leg raises, or so do something like that while you're brushing your teeth. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Simple little changes. Park the furthest spot in the parking lot. Don't try to get the closest spot. And then that way you get in more steps. So do little things to already incorporate into what you are already doing. What do you have?
Mine are similar to the leg raises. Like when I'm cooking, I like to do toe raises because if it's especially something like, let's say, a risotto. Don't want to sound fancy, but I do love a good risotto. If you're standing there for 20 minutes stirring a pot, you can get in a good at least 10 to 15 minute leg workout. So, just throwing in little things that you already have time for. Yeah. You can layer it. You'll have more success. Agreed.
Yeah. And going to another quick little step, the next step up is just like doing a 1-minute plank or doing 3 different 1-minute planks throughout the day. So it just takes 1 minute, but just kind of adding that in, sneaking that in. It doesn't take a whole lot to do that. So
planks. Yeah. I might want to get back to those. Good idea.
Yeah, I like those. Those are my go-to quick little thing to get in there. So
yeah, my only other thing is I do like to listen to audiobooks because I noticed that I can get more information in that way than just sitting down with a book because I think mentally, I just think it takes way more time. So since I like to listen to audiobooks, I might as well walk while I'm listening. So you can get me.
Yes, that's what I do with all my podcasts.
So our next one is really important to me because I think it's really valid and it's about being too expensive. So what we'll do instead is we'll take a break and we'll come back so that we have nice time to jump into it and give all of our little tips and tricks. And we will see you back shortly. We are Two Healthy Chicks on SM Enlightenment Radio.
Welcome back. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Ayana.
And we are Two Healthy Chicks on SM Enlightenment Radio and Two Healthy Chicks podcast. And we are talking about obstacles that we face in living a healthy lifestyle and how we can overcome them. So we are on number 3.
Yes. Number 3, it's too expensive. So I get kind of excited about this one because I feel to me, it is a very real concern because I'm still feeling the effects. Like I've made the switch, I'm buying organic and, I try to get sustainably sourced items, but I still feel the pinch because it is a higher grocery bill. So that's why I'm excited about it. I will say, like at the top of our episode, we mentioned how healthy living and making the choice to switch to healthy living or just making little choices to be healthier is essentially a mindset shift. So it's really all in how you see it. The same way we make time for the things that we want to make time for, we can also budget for the things for which we want to budget. Yeah. So, is it maybe not getting 1 or 2 Starbucks coffees or whatever coffee shop you prefer per week, and will that add up to an extra $30 a month? Or, just little things. Where can you look at your budget to see if this is important enough to you? Where can you make those shifts so that it doesn't become an increased bill? You're just kind of swapping off. So that's my little way to look at it.
I love that. And also, I love, Ayanna, what you said about the whole mindset shift. And also, I think there's another piece of that too, is that just the whole concept of thinking the sick care versus well care, like
Absolutely.
the effort and the time, and we talked about time already, and the money that you are putting in to healthier options, your healthier food choices, and um, really just that's or just even a membership at the gym, and what the money and the effort that you're putting into that, how that's going to pay off in the long run, how that's going to pay off for less sick care and being able to be stronger and healthier and not have so many issues potentially later in life or at whatever point needing more wellness or more sick care, in the hospital,
Mhm,
in the doctor's
mhm.
office, and prescriptions and things like that. So it's a trade-off. Would you rather have
Absolutely.
the less expensive bill now for the food, but have a potentially higher?
Medical.
Yeah. So it's just that whole concept of sick care versus well care. What you put in, you get out. So um,
Exactly.
yeah. And
If
I
you Yeah, I was just gonna say, if you boil that down, like, it really is proactive versus
mm,
reactive.
yeah, yeah.
The same way your health insurance is willing to pay for
Mm,
your dental cleanings as
mhm.
opposed to the work,
Yes.
when
Yes.
you don't have your dental cleanings. Like,
Yes.
it's so much easier to figure out your health care when you are going for your every 6 month, every 12-month visit, because it's cut and dry. When you're trying to figure out what are they going to pay when it comes to the dental work, it's not so cut and dry, because that's the
Right.
reactive care. So boiling it down, proactive versus reactive, you spend a little bit now, just like you said, to be proactive,
Yeah.
spend a whole lot later to be reactive. Absolutely.
I love that analogy because I've always thought of it more like the car and just, you do the oil changes and you rotate the tires and, you put gas in your car and you do all those things so that you can
Mhm.
have it have a longer life so that you can at least delay the needing the whole new engine or transmission or whatever. But I love that the dental care because that is something, that we all actually do and
Mhm.
directly relates to our personal health. So I love that comparison. I think that's awesome. And I think another thing to think too is that I like what you also said about moving the money around that you're already spending and looking at like
Yeah.
you already have a budget, hopefully, or at least whatever money you spend, maybe you don't call it a budget on
Right. But
your
you know
groceries,
what you're
right? So
spending
you know what you
typically.
spend on your groceries, right? So then you're just like reallocating exactly what you're buying,
Mm.
but you still have that money for your groceries, but maybe instead of getting 4 cereal boxes, you're gonna get, something different, like eggs and meat
Some
or,
whole rolled oats.
protein shake or eggs and meat or something different that you might have more of not so good things and maybe a little bit
Mhm.
less of better things that are gonna fill you up better and feed you better and feed your body better than a bunch of sugary junk would.
Yep. Agreed. Agreed. I like that reallocation. That's another simple way. So we're going to get all these little keywords: proactive versus
Oh, I
reactive,
love it. Yes,
reallocation. Because
yes.
at the end of the day, like, we're not here to like pull the wool over your eyes and say, oh no, it's all in your head. Healthy eating is not more expensive. Yes, it is.
Mhm.
Bottom line, it is. It's just a matter of, like you said, reallocation. I like that. I
And
like
I
that.
will say just really fast, a couple of quick little tips and ideas too, though. There are getting to be um, better options, less expensive options. Not everything is more like crazy expensive.
Mhm.
Even comparing some of the Trader Joe's prices and Aldi prices, like gluten-free things, and at Aldi are not so expensive. So there are, because there's getting to be more and more options, the prices are coming down.
Calm
So they
down.
are getting more competitive. And like I used to not shop at Aldi at all because they didn't have any of the things that I bought, but they are giving a lot more options now. So there are getting to be more options, and things like brown rice and sweet potatoes, like they're not expensive. So
Yeah,
just just choosing differently, getting the sweet potatoes instead of the white potatoes, and things like that, buying in bulk and buying things on sale, and knowing once you know the things that you buy, getting them when they're on sale and keep an eye out for them. Like that's what my mom did. Like she would pull out the flyer and she'd see what's on sale, and that's what we ate that week.
that's
So
it.
mhm.
Period.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, that's the advantage of the free market, right? The more competition, the
Mhm.
lower that price is going to end up. But yep, buying in bulk, that's always a good idea. Once you realize that you like something like
Mhm.
brown rice, I buy that in bulk.
Mhm.
Once I realize that, hey, I can actually cook this where it doesn't taste like a brown paper bag, great. I'm going to buy it in bulk now. So,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, the same concepts that you use for your groceries that you've been buying for years and years and years, you just
Mhm.
apply the same concepts.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
And then you have a few websites, I think, regarding like deals and free shipping. Obviously, you have those other obvious like 2-day
Mhm.
options where you can get free shipping. We'll just leave
Yes.
it at that. But
Yeah.
do you have any websites that offer like deals?
Well, there's a lot of different ones for home goods and for, just the products you use in your homes,
Mhm.
and then also for foods as well. So we can list them on our
Facebook.
Facebook page, so you can
Mhm.
check out specifics there. But there's a lot of different options and things that you can set up on a delivery schedule too, so you don't forget about it. So makes things easier. We talked about time earlier, so do things that help yourself and make it easier for you to make these decisions. If you already set it up and have them being shipped to your home, then that makes that so much easier.
So let's move on to the next one.
Yeah.
I don't have support.
Yes. Yeah, this is another valid one, like a very real one. Like I hear you. I mean, for sure, it is so much harder to do when you don't have the closest person to you supporting you, or even anyone that you feel like is supporting you. So it's definitely a harder thing, but at the end of the day, it all still comes down to another excuse. So if it is something that you genuinely believe that this is what you want to do, this is what you need to do, this is what is the best thing for you and your family to do in order for you to get healthy, to make these changes, to change your eating, to exercise, whatever it is that you're making the step for, then you need to find a way to do it. Don't let the excuses there, like not having great support or comparing the amount of support that someone else has that you feel that you are lacking. Go back to your why. Your why is the most important thing. Why do you want to start living a healthier life? Is it to be there for your family, for those that you love? What is the reason? Because the reason, the why, as long as that is bigger than your fear and your excuses that you have, then you will find a way. And only then will you find a way. So you just need to call it what it is. And it is a mountain for sure. It is something to overcome. It is an obstacle, but at the end of the day, it's an excuse. And so just be determined to make this change. You have to want it. And if you want it, you're going to be creative enough to find a way around it. So let's talk about strategies and ideas of ways to work through this, because just to make it easier when you have no apparent support, right, in your life.
Yeah. And I think going back to you were talking about the why, that's exactly the reason, in our 30 days to healthy living, when we have our groups and we are coaching our clients, that's
Yeah.
where we start. We always start with the
Mhm.
why. And that's the
Yeah.
exact reason for the reasons that you named. If you don't have a reason that is legitimate to you for
Mhm.
why you're choosing to make healthier options, then you will be easily swayed. If you do, you can always go back to that, like, wait a minute, this is why I'm doing this. So yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, jumping into the strategies, the first one, you probably do have some support. So
Mhm.
survey those closest to you and see who is supportive of you. Find one, even if it's just one, just find one person who is supportive. It can be your child. Like I know for me, Aaliyah is all on board when it comes to healthy living.
They are
Um,
happy to correct you. Are you kidding me?
oh my
Mommy, should
goodness.
you be eating that? Mommy, what do you have?
Sidebar. I have a quick story. So We were at work and school, of course, here in the house because we were still remote. And she asked me, "Are you going to make shakes?" And I'm like, "Yeah, as soon as I can get to it." And she kept asking, and I'm like, "I'm not the shake maker." And some people on social media may remember this story. I'm like, "I'm not the shake maker." And she's like, "Well, who's going to make the shakes?" I'm like, "Maybe I don't want to make shakes." And she's like, "Well, I guess you don't want to be healthy then. So, okay." And I'm like, 8 years old. It kind of stings when you get checked by your child and they happen to be right.
Mhm.
So there's that. But anyway, I digress. Go ahead.
I love that. Well, I'm going to digress a little bit more, not really on topic at all, but about the shakes and about our kids. And um, my little guy made a really cute little Mother's Day bouquet, and they wrote different things on it. And one of them says, "I know that I love it when mommy makes whatever." And he had listed two different foods and shakes. I don't remember what the other two foods were. I'm like, oh, that's my boy. So I love it. Our kids and
The
our shakes.
Arbonne babies.
Yes, love it, love it. Okay, so number two idea for getting support. So there's all kinds of apps out there that you can use. And Anna, you are the queen of apps. So take this away. Tell us some apps that are so helpful.
All right. So for starters, your smartwatch, whatever type of smartwatch you have, is your best friend. Whether or not, I have a couple of family members who have smartwatches that are sitting in the drawer or still sitting in the box from where someone gave it to them. Put it on your wrist. And I know that we are not all into the tracking and, just Big Brother, all of that good stuff. I get it. But your smartwatch can actually be very helpful when you are trying to make healthy living changes. So I personally like the feature to share my stats like throughout the day with a friend or a family member, and they do the same. So we can kind of challenge each other. We can also start a real challenge where we have 7 days and we try to beat each other at, achieving our goals. But even if you don't do the competition, it's having that accountability partner. Like, how many times have we talked about that over our episodes? Having an accountability partner just makes it stick. It makes it so much more worthwhile. It makes it more fun.
Mm-hmm.
Going from the smartwatch, you have apps like Way Better, which I have to
Mm-hmm.
credit my sister-in-law, Becky. She actually got me involved in this. Again, talked about this in a previous episode, but Way Better is an app that you can download to your phone. And you can join different challenges, different competitions. So there are nutrition competitions, fitness. Right now, I'm in 2 at the same time, and
You're
the tracking.
crazy.
But listen, I've gotten so much better at it. The tracking is different for each game. So sometimes it's just as simple as submitting a photo after a workout or submitting a photo of what you're drinking. Like, it's very simple. So these are little things that can make life a little more fun, make healthy living a little more fun. But yeah, I think there's another one that you have also, but those are 2 of my faves.
Yeah, and so two other ideas I know other people have had success with is Habitica. So it's taking habits, taking things that you want to do and become habits. So Habitica. And so that's a great one to be able to put the things in there that you want to do, like drinking your water or getting steps in or whatever it is that you want to do, and kind of gamify it. Another app is Think Up. And so that is a great one for your mental status and for your
Mm.
emotional well-being, and so things to encourage you. So just explore apps, and use that to be able to help keep you supported.
I'm gonna
So
add one more there
oh yeah,
because you
go for it.
mentioned mental health, and I just
Mhm.
started this last week. Believe it or not, there's this new one that I've been seeing a lot of commercials for called Luna, Loona, and as in Nancy. And there's, of course, a paid version, but I'm not a fan of paid anything when it comes to apps. Like, just if it's not for my business, I'm not interested. So you can utilize the free app. You just have to kind of dig and search a little bit to
Mhm.
find like those features of the app that are still available to you in the free version of it. But
Mhm.
I'm telling you, Jenny, the last 2 nights, I haven't slept better. Like, it just, I don't know what it is. It's so bizarre. Just try it. There's really no way I can describe
Easy.
it. But really deep, like genuine sleep, waking up feeling so refreshed. So I highly recommend that one.
That's awesome. And I have another one, but we have to keep moving. So I'm not going to
Mhm.
mention it. I'm going to go on to number 3, which
Yes.
is our Facebook group. So or our Facebook group is one of them, but Facebook groups is another place to find support. So definitely our group, Two Healthy Chicks, get in there, get support. Ayana has Ayana's Arbonne Advantage. I have Journey with Jenny to Healthy Living. All of these are great groups to get in, to be around people that are prioritizing healthy living. And so definitely in our Two Healthy Chicks group, we will be putting all the information of all of these different things in there, and various apps. And then we can support one another saying, oh, well, I use this. This is a great idea. So definitely finding a Facebook group to find support is a great way. Yes. Two Healthy Chicks
VIP
with
group.
the number 2. Yes.
Absolutely.
And then number 4.
Do a program that has accountability already built in. So notice this word is coming around and around and around. The more accountability you have, the more likely you are to be successful. So this is one of the reasons, again, we mentioned 30 Days to Healthy Living before, but this is one of the reasons that that program is so effective. And it's strictly about the accountability. I won't say solely, but that is a major part of it. It's just the accountability, and people generally figuring this out together, like, ooh, that worked for you, let me try it. And ooh, this wasn't such a great day for me. And people saying, oh, don't worry about it, you got it tomorrow. Just someone that's always going to be there to kind of give you that nice, whether it's a gentle push or a push off the cliff, whatever it is you need.
Whatever you need.
Whatever you need. We are your coach, and we're going to figure out how to coach you. So there's that. But yes, be a part of us.
Yes, definitely. Okay. So that's awesome. So no excuses for not having support. We have just found you all kinds of avenues to get support. So definitely feel supported, feel empowered. And speaking of empowerment, that leads us to our last obstacle that we want to address today, which is that I self-sabotage. Okay, so no one goes around saying this, right? I'm self-sabotaging. Like we don't go around saying that, but we're listing it as an obstacle because the reality is that this is very common and a very huge one. So let's break it down. Like what does self-sabotage? I can't even say it. Self-sabotage look or sound like? Okay, so it sounds like this. What if I fail? What if I succeed? Or you tell yourself, I'm always going to be like this. I'm not a healthy person. Or the opposite, you're doing really well, you're getting into shape, you're feeling great, you're getting healthy, and then you start getting uncomfortable because you are in this uncharted territory, almost like an out-of-body experience, and you start being like, oh, I can't do that. This is going too well. And you start reverting back to your old habits as a form of safety. That's self-sabotage. And the key is, like, I know we've all done it, but we all do it. So I think the key, though, is being self-aware of that cycle, being aware of that and recognizing it when it's happening.
Yeah, that can be the difference between it happening and not happening, honestly, because I think, unfortunately, it has become a part of human behavior. Like, that's just, we're always our worst critic, right? So we're constantly criticizing ourselves, sometimes without even knowing it. We had in one of our book clubs, there was the concept of how many words or how many thoughts we have in a minute. And it's astounding. And it's just a matter of, what is it that you're telling yourself? Is it negative talk? Is it positive talk? Most of the time it's negative, unless you are becoming aware of it, and then you start changing it. So absolutely. On that topic, Sykes, ironically, we had dinner earlier and he brought up a really good point. He's like, well, what about peer pressure? And I immediately got defensive, and I'm like, I don't peer pressure you into eating healthy. What are you talking about? I usually cook 2 meals. And he's like, no, that's not what I mean. He's like, when I bring the crap home, if I go grocery shopping, which, by the way, is why rarely does that happen. Anyway, he's like, when I go grocery shopping and I bring the crap home, it's very easy to persuade you. And I'm like, it's not really that it's easy to persuade me. I just don't really feel like the fight. So, but that was a real situation. So it kind of goes into that whole self-sabotage thing where I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll just eat this with him and we'll
Mm,
just have a dinner together. But that is self-sabotage. That's a
yeah.
form of it. So that was
Mhm.
interesting. And that was literally something that just came up tonight.
So interesting. And going back to the self-talk, I mean, this so key. And we did a whole episode on that. So if you
Mhm.
missed it, look back at episode 7007. It has just tons of information in there. And our self-talk has the power to give life to our plans or to defeat our plans. So definitely so key.
Yeah.
And then
Positive versus
also,
negative.
yeah. And something else that we also talked about um, when we talked about habits, but it's
Mm,
how we view ourselves too. It's our what our identity is, how we self-identify. And I thought it was really interesting in Atomic Habits. He talked about this. James Clear talked about it, that changing our identity through this process is just really important. So like he talked about like someone who was trying to quit smoking and they were offered a cigarette and one said, "Oh no, I'm trying to quit smoking." And the other person says, "Oh no, I'm not a smoker."
not
So
a
it's
smoker. Yep.
how you identify yourself. So do you
Mhm.
identify yourself as a healthy person, or I'm just trying to get healthy?
Trying to get there. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. All right. So those are some of the obstacles to healthy living. If you don't already know, if you haven't heard it like 50 times in this episode alone, we have a Facebook group. It is the Two Healthy Chicks VIP group, and it's the number two. So, Two Healthy Chicks. And just like our name, we have all of our resources there
Mhm.
from our episodes. So, this episode, I mean, the resource for this episode will include the websites we've listed, the apps, like the tips, all of that is there. So make sure that you join, become a member, and join our group. Hop in, ask any questions. The group is your group as much as it is ours. So we love that group banter and are all for it.
Yes, we're excited to see you in there. So now it's time for our APOD, our Arbonne product of the day. So something to help you be healthy, stay healthy, especially when you are in a time crunch. This is a great one. It's our Be Well Superfood Greens. So these greens are gold. So it is fruits and vegetables are important foods to include in our daily meal planning, right? So when you find it challenging to regularly get these into your diet, a nutrition supplement can help increase your intake. So, one scoop of this versatile vegan superfood powder delivers a blend of 36 fruits and
Perfect.
vegetables in each serving.
You're
So,
literally
that
drinking the rainbow.
amazing. So amazing. So this is so cool. It features prebiotic fiber and phytonutrients along with natural deep green color courtesy of blue-green algae derived from spirulina, chlorella, wheatgrass, and barley grass. And it has, like you said, Ayana, the full spectrum of the color of the fruits and vegetables. So it's just really, really amazing. It has no artificial colors, flavors, or sweeteners. It's formulated without high fructose corn syrup, dairy, or soy, no gluten. So it's just a really great option to be able to get in those greens and greens and fruits into your diet in a time crunched world that we live in.
Yep, I'm formulated without gluten. So I have
Mhm.
it every single morning, like
Yeah.
Sunday through Saturday, not a Monday through Friday thing, literally. All right. Random fact. Go for it, Jenny.
Okay, so my random fact is that I was on the state champion softball team in high school, and if you want to know more about that, you can visit our softball group. Well, you can know more about our Facebook group because the key word there is on.
Yeah,
I
I
was
noticed that
on the
wording. I'm
state
like,
champion softball team. So if you want to know more
what?
about that, I can share more in the Facebook group.
All right. So similarly, or I should say along the same lines, because I'm not state champions, but yes, I used to take gymnastics and I was
Not
really
everyone.
good at the rings. I used to do like the bird cage and everything where you're
Ooh,
like, I was
really?
really good on the rings.
Hey.
However, the horse,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
you would run, you have the
Mr. Pummel.
springboard, you jump over. Every single time, Jenny, there is not one time in my life where I have actually made it over the horse because I would always run full force, even get to the springboard and stop
Oh,
cold and walk around it every single time. I've never gone over the horse.
seriously?
I don't know. It was just like this phobia. It had to be a phobia because I've never
Ah,
actually got over it. But that's my fun fact.
we might have to dive deeper into that in another episode.
I don't know if we should. What once again, we thank you so much for coming along with us on our journey to healthy living. We hope that you found some great tips, maybe some apps, maybe some websites. If not, we are going to see you in our Facebook group very soon. Thank you so much. I'm Ayana.
And I'm Jenny.
And we are Two Healthy Chicks on SM Enlightenment Radio and Two Healthy Chicks podcast. Have a great whatever you're having.
Bye.